Hello and welcome to Community Focus. As always, it is my pleasure to shed a light on the issues that matter most to you and to your community. Here at Houston Media Source, we value respect, equality, and dignity for others. And that goes for all members of our community, including our brothers and sisters who are part of the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transsexual community, or GLBT. Here to discuss that in further detail is Lou Weaver, who is with the Conference for Change or Creating Change Conference.
Yes, ma'am.
Lou, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
Talk to us about the conference.
So the conference is a 5-day-long event that's going to be held January 29th to February 2nd of 2014. And it's a conference where LGBT people and their allies and activists can come. So everybody is welcome. It will help us learn how to engage ourselves and engage others in the movement for equality for everybody, just like you said.
Who puts on this event?
It's put on by the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force. They are headquartered in D.C. I think this is the 26th year. It's the first time here in Houston. And it's something that came out of a group of people wanting to learn what other people have done. And so people from all over the country and some people from other parts of the world will be here to kind of learn from others so we don't have to recreate the wheel on things that have worked in their communities and things that haven't worked so that we can try different things.
Now, when you say things that we can learn, there are folks at all ends of the spectrum. So there's a person that may have not come out to their family yet and is thinking about it.
Right.
Then there's the parent who has to learn how to engage in a good conversation when that child or that relative comes out to them. Then there's folks like me who are just advocates for equality in general and who want to support, but I may not be aware of all the different levels that I can be supportive in.
Right.
So how will the conference specifically address these kinds of topics?
So every topic is, so there's over 150 workshops and they're broken down from beginner, advanced, and intermediate levels. So you can kind of pick and choose what you want to engage in, whether it's coming out, like what you're talking about. P-Flag might be there to talk about that kind of a story on how you're going to come out to your family or come out to yourself. There's also welcoming school, so how to deal with a young LGBT person in the school environment and how to make sure they're not bullied and they're treated well. And so you can pick and choose, and each one, you don't have to pick a track and then stick to it. You can decide, hey, at this moment I want to go see this one, and later I might feel like I'm more advanced in another area. So it's a very personal experience to somebody. Wednesday is all about racial diversity. Thursday, there's day-long workshops that are centered around that. I think there's 12 or 13 of them that cover different topics, and that's like an intense training all day long and meeting with people that really care about that topic from 9 to 6. And then Friday and Saturday are broken down into those 150 workshops or so for about an hour, hour and a half, where you can go in, have these conversations, learn from other people, maybe get a step-by-step kind of a how-to guide, so to speak, on so many different topics that affect the LGBT community in different areas, whether it's families, schools, HIV, AIDS, religion, people of color, transgenders. And so there's just, I feel like there's something for everybody there.
You've been to this event several times before. Describe to our viewers the feeling that you experienced by being there.
It's so hard to describe. It's like being at your favorite rock concert or a football game or whatever you're really passionate about. When I went, it was the first time I'd been around that many LGBT people, our allies and activists. There was about 3,500 people in Baltimore when I went to my first one in 2012. Then I went to Atlanta earlier this year in January. We expected this one to be the largest, about 4,000 people. And when you're in that type of a community where you're taking up 4 floors of a major hotel and all these people care about the same thing you do, it's so exciting. Just the hum that's there, you could feel it, and just everybody's there is excited to be there and kind of has the same mission, the same goal. We're all fighting for equality on some level.
What does that say, the fact that this conference is going to be held in Houston?
It's undescribable. Yeah, I can't believe it. This is so many people like, oh, you're in Houston, you're the South. No, we are this great sea of purple right here, doing some amazing things. We get to showcase our city. We get to showcase the fabulous things we're doing here with Annise Parker just being reelected. And the leadership that she has and the leadership that our community is giving us and taking that going forward and showing it. And that's why I wanted to be a co-chair. I wanted to be able to highlight the things that we have done here, how inclusive our LGBT community is, and be able to show that off to the rest of the world that they're coming in here into our house, right? And we get to tell them about what we're doing and learn from them and share with them the things that we have done.
So if you or someone you know is equally passionate about this, just as Lou is, then this conference offers the opportunity for you to connect, whether it's at the government level or at the local activist level. Where can folks get more information about the conference?
The creatingchange.org, there's a website. It has everything that somebody wants to know and then some.
Tell us the dates again for the event and the location.
January 29th to February 2nd, we will be at the Hilton of the Americas downtown.
Before we go, you and I were discussing before we started the program some of the local legislation that affects folks who are part of the GLBT community. And I was just shocked to hear this. Let's discuss that with our viewers, because a lot of folks may not be aware that in Texas, I can
be fired. I could be kicked out of my house, denied housing. If I was homeless, I could be denied a place to sleep overnight. So many things are not equal for the LGBT community. We do not have the same rights. And it's not about special rights. It really is just about having the same equality as everybody else. And it's not just about marriage, because there's so much more than a marriage fight. It's about immigration. It's about sponsoring a partner to be here in the country. And really just being able to go to work and work as myself and not fear for losing my job, or not being allowed to rent an apartment or to own a home because somebody's just discriminated against my community.
Give us an example of how just a chain of events could lead to someone being placed away from their home, not receiving proper medical care.
54% of transgender people have said that they've had to self-educate their doctors, so doctors do not know how to treat them or how to, give them culturally competent health care. So if you're LGBT and you don't find a job because somebody is discriminating against you, they don't want to hire you, and now you're going to lose your house because you can't pay your bills. So you have no job, you have no insurance, you have no home. Then what do? You could unfortunately turn to either stealing or something like survival sex. And then what happens? Then you're exposing yourself to more violence, you're exposing yourself to STDs, STIs, sexually transmitted infections, HIV, AIDS. You're living on the streets, you're hungry, and so many things go downhill. And then what happens if you're depressed because all these other events are happening, right? Then you might turn to alcohol, you might turn to drugs to self-medicate. And it's a really, really unfortunate situation. And so if we can have these equal rights so that people can live, they can work, they can get an apartment, we're going to reduce so much of that kind of after effect of the what can happen, right? And so that we give people the ways to be positive and happy and healthy adults contributing to society that they want to do, right? And so that we can just have equality for everybody.
You had even mentioned that local shelters could turn away someone based on their sexual orientation or preference or identification.
Right.
So that is just really shocking to me, and I'm sure it's shocking to our viewers as well. Lou, the conference is Creating Change.
Yes.
And creating change starts with you, it starts with me, it starts with you, our neighbors. What are some things that we can do already on our own and at the community level to make this a better community for everyone?
One of the simplest things to do is come out, whether as an LGBT person or as an ally, an activist, a family member, friend of somebody in the community, because what that does, it reduces the stigma. In the 60s and 70s, when nobody was out and there wasn't a, quote, visible gay community, it was a lot easier to discriminate against them because we didn't think we knew anybody that was gay or lesbian, much less bisexual and transgender, right? And so the more people we know, that Ellen's on TV talking about her wife all of the time, Neil Patrick Harris doing this with his husband, adopting children, they become our friends. They become people that we see all the time. It reduces the stigma, and so we stop the anti-gay hate, the gay bashing. And so it's really hard to hate somebody that's your friend or somebody that you know, right? So you can reduce your enemy by making them your friend. I think Abraham Lincoln said that. And so if we fear the unknown. If we can remove that unknown, the unknown quantity, the uninformed, and we can just educate people about, hey, look, I'm an LGBT person, or my friend is, my family, my neighbor, however that plays out, and stopping people from saying things like, oh, that's so gay, or using foul language and using slurs. Those little things can make a difference to other people, because then they might have the power to come out. They might have the ability to say, hey, I'm going to be safe. I see myself. Will and Grace, Roseanne, with having LGBT characters, made the world of difference by bringing these people into our living rooms and making them somebody that we could relate to. And that's what we need to do, create people that everybody can relate to, because in reality, I put my pants on the same way everybody else does, right? But if they don't understand it, then they get confused, they get angry, and all these things go on, and then it's just easier to hate it because we don't understand it.
Lou, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
So if you are perhaps someone that has used these slurs that Lou has mentioned earlier, and you think, you know what, I really do support my fellow GLBT community members, and I need to figure out how I can start doing that and how to remove the stigmas from my mentality, then you can get more information about all of the resources that will be available to you through the Creating Change Conference. The website is listed here on the screen, and full details will be shown at the end of the show. Thanks for tuning in to Community Focus, and I'll see you next time.